That's really awkward. We'll see how this goes. Just a quick warning, this video will include vague references to abuse, addiction, and cults. Nothing too detailed, but I really should just briefly mention it ahead of time. Can't see a damn thing with those on. Okay. My first line of this is, I know how to start this video. I really don't. So, this idea popped into my head while I was writing the script for my Spider-Man 2 2004 video. And it's something I've been thinking about for a long time. I mean, I grew up with Spider-Man, the superhero so notorious for keeping his civilian identity close to his chest that he was chosen during the comic book Civil War arc to reveal it to the world. I suspect he was chosen to be on the registration side of the conflict purely for this dramatic moment. As a creative writer, a whole bunch of my ideas tend to revolve around superheroes and swords. Superheroes and swords are my default position at all times. I was going to add something else here, but my dyspraxic ass forgot it while mid-sentence. Anyway, so I've thought about this a lot, and I've realised I'm going to need some shorter videos between my retrospectives, at least for now, just to keep me from hurting myself over how long they are taking to make. Ignoring the MCU's blatant disregard for many of the things that make superheroes so iconic, an essential part of being a superhero is keeping your identity an absolute super secret. Or at least, that's what it means to be Spidey. Maybe other heroes are looser about that, but anyway, it is pretty important to being a superhero. And this makes sense. It doesn't matter how invulnerable you are, your friends, families, pets, and lovers are still a little more than fleshy blood balloons. See the comic book Civil War arc. If your identity gets out, then supervillains and even ordinary criminals looking for revenge or prestige can get to you through your loved ones. No doubt cops have similar problems, but they largely make up a homogeneous group, and one face likely doesn't stand out from the other. That is kind of the definition of a uniform. They make you uniform. It's probably good in roles like police where you don't want to be identified amongst all the others. For this very reason, really. It's bad in schools where they're suppressing your identity. So that's a discussion for another day, which I probably won't have. And cops don't tend to publicly take on lunatics with superpowers while wearing identifiable, brightly coloured tights, single-handedly earning more unjustified ire from the criminal populace. But somebody whose ability to fly, to swing from buildings, or to bench press said buildings allows them to take on enormous amounts of, let's be honest, super entitled criminals, which will become the focus of a very self-entitled hatred. God knows there are a few people more stupid and angry than the self-entitled. This all makes sense. But a common argument, one that I've heard to death during my tenure as a Spidey fan, is that knowing his secret would put his loved ones in danger.
Things could never work out. What about the danger? I must have been out of my mind to ask her.
No, it wouldn't. It really wouldn't. Merely knowing a secret doesn't make somebody vulnerable to those who want to share in it, unless it becomes known that they know. And that's the point of the secret identity. Mary Jane knowing Peter's secret doesn't put her at any more risk than she was already in. Sure, there's the potential risk of a mind reader passing by as MJ's thinking about it, but the same applies to Spidey himself and the few other heroes or villains in the know. A a few more civilians hardly makes a difference. So, is Peter Parker an idiot for holding this secret so closely to his well-defined, shapely, hard chest? Well, yes he is. Sharing secrets can be enormously beneficial to someone's mental state. Confiding in others is important, not only helping us bond, but also as a release of pent-up stress. Plus, he gets help making excuses or finding alibis to better keep his secret, or even to help him clean up after a particularly bad fight. But that does raise another question, one that Pete should bring up more often. Is it fair? Peter Parker chose to be a superhero and to take on this responsibility, if actions resulting from emotional trauma could be considered choosing. There's a dialogue to be had on that topic, and I am not educated enough to start here. It's a totally different matter to drop that responsibility onto another person, and that secret is a major responsibility. It's a secret that could easily inspire fear and paranoia, stress from both keeping the secret and lying to those that they love for you. Then there is also the stress of watching the madman in tights, they now know to be you, yeeting himself into danger in, and I repeat, tights. Imagine what that would do to poor Aunt May, who already has a weak disposition. How about MJ? In many versions of the character, she's a famous model/actor, and she's always having to deal with people who could easily out the secret to thousands of people if she slipped up. Or she's having live interviews or such, which, if she slips up, everybody knows. She can't afford to slip up even once. And of course, anybody who knows him is present at one of his fights and he, say, gets stabbed. They can't cry out, "Peter!" lest they not only out him, but become a target in the process. And in other versions, Mary Jane is also a Lois Lane-style journalist, possibly writing about his antics. And this compromises her integrity and honesty that in these versions always make a core part of her identity.
You're Mary Jane Watson. You want the truth.
And worse yet, this isn't the sort of compromise that you can discuss beforehand, to make sure you're both on board with this and willing and able to handle the responsibility. The only time it's remotely fair to them is if they discover it on their own. Which would actually be a really cool angle, where the hero in question can't commit either way, and so deliberately acts careless enough to let the other person figure it out. And then you can do this whole subplot about how unfair it is not only to drop this responsibility on them, but to do it so cowardly. I might try to write that, but if somebody else wants to use the idea, then I hereby swear I will not sue you for stealing it. Ideas should be shared. At least ideas that have not been developed should be shared. I'm not sharing with you the stuff I'm working on because it's mine. It's mine. I planned to write this piece to explain why I thought it was a wrong and kind of stupid idea to keep your identity secret so strictly from people like MJ, because knowing a secret doesn't inherently put them in danger. But as I wrote this, I saw more and more valid reasons to keep the secret. It's just never what we see in the movies. Occasionally in the comics, like with Aunt May's weak heart, we do see it. So it kind of feels like my initial plan to finish this script off with valid reasons has become redundant. But fuck it, here we go. 1. Health reasons. If knowing your secret is liable to give someone a heart attack, then you should keep that shit to yourself. This could also be a great chance to explore clinical anxiety in a story as they get more and more terrified of the outside world lest they
spill the beans. Yep, sorry, I messed up the editing there.
I don't think I'll be exploring this idea anytime soon. I don't think I'm up to it. So go ahead and claim it. I promise I won't sue you. 2. Compromising family members. I personally like the idea of a step-parent running for office or being a cop or such like. It doesn't have to be a step-parent. That's just kind of an idea I've been working with. So not only would knowing your secret compromise their integrity, but they'd be forced into a really tough position. Keep your secret, or be honest and reveal it. See Spider-Verse with Brent. It also adds an element where telling your other parent, or maybe an aunt or uncle or sibling, would force them to lie to their new lover or close family member, or to be open with them. Relationships should be built on honesty and communication, and your secret would be preventing that. 3. Sometimes relationships fail. When a relationship fails, and not always a romantic one, people can get extremely bitter and petty, irrationally and dangerously so. In the real world, people can try to get their previously loved ones in social, legal, or physical trouble after a breakup. So why would you give them the ammo of a real-life threatening secret if it's too early in the relationship? Yes, I see the hypocrisy of these 2 points. Relationships should be honest, but you can't risk telling them your secrets? That's the kind of thing that makes fiction great. It allows you to explore all these ideas. 4. Yes. Bad family. Some people you are forced to be with just aren't good people. Fuck these stories about forgiving abusive parents because they're family. Some people just aren't worth your trust or your love. Just in real life. There's a lot to play with here from many different angles. You can give the bad people a chance at redemption, or you can lean into them being unredeemable or just plain not worthy of forgiveness. And your hero can get their self-worth from being in costume and helping people and growing from the relationship they form while doing that. The parents can be abusive or neglectful, they can be addicts or cultists. Heck, even something as simple as not getting along with them is a good angle. Blood does not equate personality, values, or beliefs. I've played a little with this last one. Parents abusive through emotional neglect, although the child is fed and housed. But then one parent discovers the secret. To them, this not only recontextualizes a lot, but makes them realize they know nothing about the life they brought into this world. This initiates their own character development, separating from their partner, if that's where the story goes, and moving away from their own selfish interests in order to help support their kid. This also allows for character development for the hero, as they now have to negotiate the unusual behavior of a parent they barely know, while thinking they still have to keep their secret. Another idea I like is when the hero has prepared themselves to tell their single parent the secret, only to be interrupted by the revelation that the parent is dating a police chief or a future mayor. My latest dabble into this sort of idea was parents who had fallen for the Jameson-style lies about the hero, and they actually became activists against the hero, gaining fame and money from it all, adding some uncertainty about the parent-child relationship, and our hero can't come out to them because of fear. To conclude, there is so much that can be done with this idea of a secret identity that it's a little frustrating to so often see it boiled down to secrets are dangerous. So, that's it. I am close to finishing the script for Spider-Man 2004. I don't think editing will take too long after that, but I am going to try and do more videos in this style to keep myself motivated. Writing this and then rewriting it took about 2 hours with the edit, and recording it took about 22 minutes with all my flubs. Anyway, I'll upload this with a few minor edits, and I'll be back to the retrospective soon. I think I have a migraine. So, okay.
Long story. If you've got the time, I can. Well, I've got the time. Can I hear the story? Helen, bring me in the dance hall.
I'm gonna do that again. Whoa. It's probably good in. It's probably good in. Oh god, I just had that. I'm using my hands here more than you can see. Trust me. They can't cry out, Peter! Less. It's in the process. And in other versions, Mary Jane is also a Lois Lowest line? It's too hot. It's frying my brain. My brain doesn't work properly unless it's in low temperatures. And in other versions, I almost said Lois Lane is a Mary Jane. No. No. Oh. That amuses me far more than it should. My logo shouldn't be a person, it should be a frog. And this compromises her integrity and honesty. And this compromises. But if somebody else wants to use the idea that I hereby. It's not. Yes, I got a Bible, innit? I haven't got a Bible. It kind of feels like my initial plan to finish this script off with.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's time now for a little intermission.
Bye, bro. This could also be or to be open with them. Fuck these stories. Or you can lean into them being you can give the bad people a bad they form in that. While doing that. Yeah, that's where I was. Another idea I like is when the hero is prepared to tell themselves, wow, I need to go buy some milk. Another idea is another idea I like. Another idea I like is when the hero has prepared themselves to tell their single parent the secret, only to be interrupted by the revelation that their parent is typo, which literally undoes the entire meaning of the sentence. The revelation that their parent is not dating the police chief of no. Another idea I like is when I hate this sentence. I wonder if I get like a hard cast to cover this and stop the. Another idea I like is when the hero is. Another idea I like is when the hero has prepared themselves to tell the secret. Oh, what is wrong with me? That their parent is only. Otherwise, I'm all green. Oh, how do people do this? Probably by not being my particular brand of neurodivergent. Is about the hero. And I must have been getting tired because my writing at this point got crap. I can see these though. Can't come out to them. Out.